In this episode, I'll give you 5 tips that you can use to help your child become financially literate. I'll also talk about some of the resources that are available to help parents and teachers teach financial literacy to their children, books, websites, and apps that teach financial concepts in a fun and interactive way can be a great supplement to the education that children receive at home and in school. Hey, what's poppin', BPP fam? Welcome to another episode of Black People Parenting, the space where we have conversations with Black folks about raising Black children. I'm your host, family engagement educator, and the glad dad, Dion Chavis. In today's episode, I'm talking about the importance of educating our kids on financial literacy. Now, as a parent, I believe it's my responsibility to teach my children about financial literacy. Money management is a skill that will serve them well throughout their lives. And I want to ensure that they have the tools and knowledge to make informed financial decisions. I've got a daughter in college who is just really kind of learning what it feels like to be on her own and to be in control of her own financial decisions. I've got a 4-year-old who may not understand the concept of money just yet, but as he gets older, I have to be sure that he knows the importance of managing his money. And for my wife and I, the first step in teaching financial literacy to our children is to educate them about the basics of money. They need to understand what money is, how it's used, and how the different forms of money can affect you, right? They also need to learn the difference between earning, saving, spending, and investing. And once they have a good grasp on the basics, the next step is to teach them about budgeting and saving. I never gave my oldest an allowance, right? But whenever she would receive money for making good grades or for birthday and Christmas, things like that, I would stress to her the importance of budgeting that money so she could learn to prioritize expenses and manage her money. I also encouraged her to set savings goals for things that she wanted to buy in the future. But financial literacy isn't just about teaching kids about money. It's also about teaching them about the importance of making smart financial decisions. I try to lead by example and show my kids how to compare prices and how to shop for the best deals and avoid things like impulse buying, because those are the things that we can control on a small scale that can make a big difference on a larger scale, right? I also believe that schools should play a part in teaching children about financial literacy. I'm a big supporter of any programs, any classes that teach kids about budgeting, saving, investing, and credit management. These classes are dope because they can complement and they can also add on to the lessons that I teach at home and provide my kids with a more comprehensive understanding of what money management is and what it looks like. In this episode, I'll give you 5 tips that you can use to help your child become financially literate. I'll also talk about some of the resources that are available to help parents and teachers teach financial literacy to their children, books, websites, and apps that teach financial concepts in a fun and interactive way can be a great supplement to the education that children receive at home and in school. Also, it's important for us to understand that teaching children financial literacy, it's an ongoing process that requires a lot of patience and a lot of dedication, but the rewards are well worth the effort. Not only will my children be able to make informed financial decisions in the future, but they'll also have the tools they need to achieve their goals and live financially stable lives. Even though I didn't do it with my oldest, I still feel like one of the most effective ways that parents can teach their children about money is by giving them an allowance. This can teach children about earning and spending money, and it also can help them learn to budget and prioritize their expenses. You can also set savings goals for your children, such as saving for a new toy, saving for a special trip. This can help them learn about saving for the future and the importance of delayed gratification. And as we all know, we're living in a world where everybody wants instant gratification. They want it right now. But as parents, we know that the food always tastes better when it comes fresh out of the oven than it does when it comes out of the microwave, right? Another important aspect of teaching children about money at home is involving them in real life financial decisions. For example, when you're doing your grocery shopping, you can show the kids how to compare prices and how to make informed purchasing decisions, right? How to coupon. You can also involve the children in household budgeting, such as setting a budget for the household expenses and involving the kids in tracking those expenses. These are some just some ways that we can do, some small steps that we can take. There are also some good apps out there that you can use for budgeting if you don't already have a system set up. Also, I think it's important for us as parents to lead by example when it comes to money management. Children often learn by observing and mimicking the behaviors of their parents. Think about the way that your parents handled money and how it influenced you. Would you be a better steward of your money if someone had been sort of a blueprint about financial literacy for you while you were growing up, right? The goal is always to make sure that we are lifting the next generation up higher than we were. And one of the ways that we can do that is making sure that they are making intelligent decisions about money. They have to know that there are consequences that come when you don't manage your money properly. And if you have real life examples to share with them, give them that insight. We've got to be mindful of our own spending habits and try to model responsible money management for them. Also, remember that teaching children about money, it's an ongoing process. It's not just a one and done type of thing. We've got to have regular conversations with our young folks about money and continue to provide them with new financial concepts and information as they grow and mature. Because of how crucial it is for kids to learn about money management, I feel that schools should play a bigger part in preparing them for the future. However, despite its importance, financial literacy education is oftentimes not mandatory when it comes to school curriculums. Now, to address this gap, I feel that more schools should implement financial literacy programs to teach kids about money management. And one of the main ways that schools can teach financial literacy is by offering personal finance classes. These classes can cover a wide range of topics such as budgeting, saving, investing, and credit management. They can also include practical activities such as creating a budget, analyzing financial statements, and simulating the stock market investments. Now, by providing students with real life examples, personal finance classes can help students understand the importance of these concepts and how they can apply them to their own lives. Another way that schools can teach financial literacy is simply by offering financial literacy programs as an extracurricular activity, right? These programs can include educational games and simulations that make learning about money fun and kind of interactive. They also can include guest speakers who can share their expertise and real world experience with students. Teaching kids about finances in school can help students develop important life skills such as budgeting, such as saving, and just responsible spending. It can also help students make informed decisions about financial products and services such as credit cards and loans. In addition to classes and programs, schools can also incorporate financial literacy education into other subjects such as math and social studies. For example, math classes can include lessons on personal finance, such as calculating interest rates and creating a budget. Social studies classes can include lessons on economic concepts such as supply and demand and the role that banks play in our economy. It's also important to note that financial literacy education should not be limited to high school students. A lot of experts believe that it's important to start teaching financial literacy at a very early age. So elementary and middle school age students should also incorporate financial literacy education into their curriculum. Schools can also partner with organizations, banks, credit unions, and financial institutions to provide students with financial education. They can provide students with educational materials and financial literacy programs that can help students understand how to manage their money. Having guest speakers come in from financial institutions is also a good way to reinforce the lessons that are being taught. Also, I think, a lot of times it gets overlooked, the fact that we need to introduce our young people to the stock market. They should know about how they can invest their money. They should know what things like the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the New York Stock Exchange, they should know those things and know what they are before they graduate high school. By offering personal finance classes, financial literacy programs, and incorporating financial literacy education into other subjects, schools can help students develop the knowledge and skills they need to make those informed financial decisions and achieve their financial goals later on in life. Again, these are the concepts that a lot of us weren't introduced to while growing up. So let's make sure that we put them front and center for our kids to learn about. So here are my 5 tips to help your kids become financially literate. Tip number 4, discuss responsible credit card use. Credit cards, when used responsibly, can be a safe and convenient way to make purchases, earn rewards, and build credit. When your kids are old enough to understand how credit works, consider letting them borrow a small amount of money from you to make a major purchase. You can eventually assist them in obtaining a credit card so they can begin building their own credit history. But now I think it's important to discuss those buy now, pay later options that so many online retailers have available. Now, while these options may be appealing to some folks, there's definitely a downside. According to a recent article in the New York Times, in 2021, 3.8% of borrowers in a Consumer Bureau study of 5 paid later providers had a loan that was charged off as bad debt, which was up from 2.9% in 2020. And that trend continued through the first half of 2022. So it's important to understand that these aren't made for credit building because they don't report to the credit agencies until you miss a payment. So once you start missing payments, that's when they report and those negative marks show up on your credit report. So they don't help build your credit if you make payments on time, but they can hurt you if you miss payments, right? So the next tip, number 5, is to teach them about loans. Many children don't understand how money is earned or how it's borrowed, right? Teaching children about loans is an important step in helping them become financially literate adults. Loans are a common way for people to borrow money to purchase things that they need or that they want, such as a home or a car. And understanding how loans work and the responsibilities that come with them can help children make smart financial decisions. You can also explain to them that a loan is when someone borrows money from a bank or other lender and then pays it back over time with interest, right? Make sure that they understand that when they borrow money, they are responsible for paying it back with interest. Regardless of whether they use the money wisely or not, they got to pay it back. Another way to teach children about loans is to use real life examples. For instance, you could explain how a mortgage works and how it helps someone to buy a house, right? Or you could talk about how a car loan allows someone to make a purchase of a car and, with the added responsibility of making monthly payments over a set period of time. It's also important to teach children about the importance of credit scores and the impact of late payments or defaulting on a loan. You can let them know how a credit score is used to measure someone's credit worthiness and how it's used by lenders to determine if they should approve a loan and at what interest rate. Late payments and things like that can have a negative impact on their credit score, which can make it harder to get approved for loans in the future. Finally, it's important to stress the impact of being responsible when it comes to loans. Encourage the children to only borrow what they need and to make sure they can afford those monthly payments. Let them know that the loan should be used for important things, not just for buying things they want but don't need. Teaching children about loans is an important step to helping them become financially literate adults. By understanding how loans work, the responsibilities that come with them, and the importance of credit scores and being responsible, children can make smart financial decisions in the future. So there are plenty of resources out there that can help explain money management concepts in simple terms. There are websites that offer interactive financial literacy games and activities and apps that can help children keep track of their spending. So here are a few of my personal favorites. One is Bankaroo. Now that's an app that teaches children how to manage their budgets, save for goals, and be financially savvy. Bankaroo gives children access to their own virtual bank accounts, which parents can fund as needed or as a part of a set allowance. Another one is the Money Monster. The Money Monster story series is great for teaching money concepts like how to earn and save, how to borrow, and also it has lessons that teach the importance of creating healthy money habits. And if you have older kids, you can try an app like Money Think Mobile or the Green Light Debit Card, which is a banking app for kids that provides a debit card and also gives them the option to invest their funds. So there are plenty of options out there for you if you want your kids or your students to become better stewards of their money. The goal is to make sure that we are preparing the next generation to make better financial decisions as they get older than a lot of us did. All right. So that's it for this episode of Black People Parenting. If you found some value in this, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe on the podcast. Find us on all social media platforms at Black People Parenting. You can always find me at the Glad Dad Dion on IG.